Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whispers on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
Boy, you're still all excited, isn't it? How about fast you're talking, dude? I love that.
I don't know how to act right now.
You're always surprised by what happens on the streets of Wheeling.
I'm not anymore. You know why? I mean,
folks out there in Radioland, if you just witnessed what I witnessed, you would understand.
Oh, easy way to make a buck.
It's 6:09 p.m., 72 degrees. Give us a call at 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, call toll-free 1-866-514-1600. There was a couple right outside the window.
Yeah.
Just leave
Let's hope she made more than a 20. That's all I can say.
Like right out there.
Yeah.
Cars driving by and everything.
Right on a park bench.
I'm blushing.
You are.
This is the second week in a row for you to blush.
Oh, you people are killing me.
I think it's amusing.
And this is what, Main Street, right?
Well,
it's Main Street.
You know, every girl's got a right to make a living. That's all I can say. Unionize.
If it was a union, she'd probably get 22. That's right.
Yeah, but then 3 of it would go back to union dues. So
well, you
might be
gotta
better
keep
off.
the team. No, never mind.
No, be in the service providers union.
Oh, geez, Louise. Man, that like shook my day up.
You rocked your
What do you
world.
think? I'm the one that saw it first. And
Nick goes, oh my God, look.
I know. And they're telling me, look out there. I'm looking all over the place, and I don't see anything. Marianne's right. Nobody driving by probably even noticed.
Lily says she thought that only happened in New York.
Oh, no, Lily. This is the friendly city.
Really friendly.
Yeah.
That honestly the first time I've ever, wow.
And I thought they just gave you a handshake when you walked down the street.
Brings a new
meaning.
A new meaning to Friendly City.
Yeah,
I think this is the lowest the show's ever went.
Oh, believe me, we can take it to depths you've never dreamed of.
Just let me off my leash. We can take her low.
Oh. What did you give me? Oh, I see.
It's just questions. It's for next hour.
All righty.
Oh.
I just saw them, and I figured if I didn't give them to you now,
You'd
they'd
forget.
sit there, and then I'd be like, I should have gave you these, 2 hours later.
Oh, well.
Hey, well, today is my grandpa's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Pop. Love you.
What'd you get him?
I just said I love you on the radio.
Okay.
Shut up.
Popularity. Celebrity.
We have ideas.
He's now a celebrity.
That's a gift we keep on giving. My sister hates it. If you talk about me one more time.
Aw, but everybody knows her now.
I know.
What's her name?
Yeah, what is your sister's name?
I'm not supposed to tell you that it's Linda.
Linda. Hi, Linda.
Believe me, she's not listening. And when people ask her, don't you listen to your sister? She says, why? I've listened to her all my life. I don't want to listen to her now.
That's all right. Everybody out there, Linda's email address. How the kitties doing, Lo?
Oh, getting big. Their eyes are opening. And do you know kittens, that little hiss? When you pick them up, they go, ha, ha, ha. They're so cute. Either that or they're finally seeing the first human of their lives. And they're going,
my God!
I don't want this around me. No, they're doing really well, and she's a very good mom.
Almost ready for the big kitty giveaway sweepstakes.
6 weeks. In 6 weeks.
You planning your trip to New York?
I should. I got to get with Lily about that.
Be an interesting trip. Maybe you'll see other things in New York while you're there, and
yeah, to make it so I don't feel quite so privileged of living in
you'll
Wheeling.
feel like you're in Wheeling. No,
yeah,
it's like I feel like I'm home.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
Man.
And you know what? Did you tell me that we were going to have the author of the Repairman Jack?
I'm working on that still.
Okay.
I'll need to talk to you during the break about that because we might have to work something out. I meant to talk to you before, but then something happened.
But I thought that's who we were having on tonight.
I've talked to him. There's a very good chance we'll have him on. We just need to work out some
There's some minor details we got to switch around.
Yes.
So. You're asking me to work late, aren't you?
What?
Well, that's
Yeah,
one
we
option.
are.
That's one option, but we discussed that, and we thought that Death
We
by
want to
Lola.
live.
We were like, okay, we could have this.
Actually, I said, we could go late, and then he's like, Lola. And I'm like, that's what I was trying to say. We should die early. She wouldn't kill us then. But,
Yeah,
well, we'll talk about it, though.
Okay.
But I really have you started reading the book?
Yes, I have.
The Tomb, how do you like it?
I really do. I really
it's
do.
great.
It's well written, and he seems like a really cool guy. I'm
And
not
he's
that
a
far
medical
into
doctor
it.
as well. I think that's one of the reasons we're having trouble with
Yeah.
he actually works for a living and then writes, too. So.
What? We have
I'm
still work for a living?
Yeah. So,
Really?
He must
People
really like
do
it.
that?
I've never met one of these people.
Well, there was one.
Not any of us.
I'm not going to say
No,
anything.
keep it quiet.
I'm going to keep it quiet. All right.
We got some
nothing
pizzas
else
to
to
give away, too. DeCarlo's from the Grove. We got some pizzas. If anybody wants to call in and share us a story before we get our guests on the phone, we got a few minutes, and we'd love to hear you.
Oh.
And who doesn't like pizza? 10 pieces of DeCarlo's from the Grove. It's like the best that's ever existed.
The best that ever was.
The best that ever is. The
You
best
might
that
want to
ever was.
give the phone numbers 304.
304-214-1600, 866-514-1600. See, I can do that all in one breath now, Nick.
You're getting good. Those breathing treatments.
Very.
No, it's not the breathing treatments. It's the fact that I sit at home and practice.
The sad part is I can actually see you doing that. I'm going to have to ask Eric, your roommate, does Jordan sit in his room and go, you hear breathing, and then all of a sudden you'll hear passed out. One day you will pass out in here. I'm not giving mouth to mouth.
We've got Tammy.
Hey, Tammy, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good. Just
You-
want to let you guys.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to tell you guys I really enjoy the show.
Well, thank you, Tammy. Have you been walking the streets of downtown Wheeling lately? There's some.
Well, no, not lately, but I used to work at the chamber, and I absolutely love my job. And I can tell you, you would see some different types. And bless her heart, there used to be a poor homeless woman that pretty much lived right across from our doorway.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what happened to her, but I hope she found her way to something bigger and better.
Did she have any strange habits like what
Well, she
we?
used to, well, I don't know about those kinds of habits, but she used to have tons and tons of bags that she carried around with her
Aw.
all the time. And if I remember correctly, at one point or another, she had a TV with her.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got a story for us?
No, I guess that was pretty much my story. I wasn't sure what story you guys were fishing for, but you said the word pizza, and
Hey,
my little one loves pizza.
Give her the
Well, you know what?
G's.
You got the pizza, Tammy.
Awesome.
That's how much we love you.
Aw.
I was afraid
Aw.
Jordan was about to go, if you don't have a story.
Well, if you don't have a story, next caller. No.
He is a jerk. We're trying to work
Thanks.
through it.
Okay, you got the pizza.
Thanks, fellas.
Can you come by and pick it up?
If I can't tonight, I probably could maybe
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, you got 30 days.
Oh, sweet.
So there it is. It'll be out for you.
All right,
Thanks, Tammy.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. First of all, your mom, your aunt, is listening.
Oh, we're in
Okay.
trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
We can't help what we see on the streets.
But you can, and I told her I chastised both of you
I will be
for
back.
watching.
I'm going to go yell.
All right, I apologize.
There's Kelly.
Here I go.
There's Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, word on the street is that all your problems resort back to the fact that you contain lead.
That's why there's a recall on me.
That's right.
Darn that Fisher Price.
Keep your fingers off your coffee.
It just makes it taste sweeter.
That's right.
God.
Good night.
Bye, Kelly.
I don't even want to know.
My Facebook status.
Ah,
She's hitting me on it.
I see. That's why I don't get on that
Oh.
foolish
Foolish.
website. Mm.
All right, we got our guest on?
No,
Oh, okay. We
I
got
was
him.
answering phones.
Oh, okay.
If you would help
Will
me
you
in
leave-
my
yeah,
job.
you do that job. Let her do her job.
Well,
Everybody
see-
be happy.
If anybody wants to come down here and teach me how to use a telephone, I'd be more than happy.
We've been trying to teach you how to use the telephone for a long time. All you can do is text.
Well, see what it is. I know how to call people and I know how to put them on hold, but I don't know how to get them on the air.
Well, I called you today and you
It's
answered
only
the phone.
self-explanatory. There's little things over the buttons.
Read.
Yeah, see, that's where me and reading don't go hand in hand.
we'll write you a tutorial, like with pictures. Get like posters up, like hit or pick up receiver, hit button.
All right, our first guest tonight is Miss Marley Gibson. She has a series of books called Ghost Huntress. One coming out here soon is called The Guidance. Correct, Nick?
Correct.
Okay. She also experienced some crazy paranormal stuff, and she captured it on video while she's been researching these books, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her books and her experiences. Miss Marley?
Hey there.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Well, we're doing great as well. Seeing the sights.
Seeing the side. Thanks for having me on and letting me chat about my books.
Well, let's hear what kind of books you write, because it's you do more than just paranormal books too, right?
Yes. I have the Ghost Huntress series, which is at the moment a 5-book series. The first book, The Awakening, came out in April. The second one, The Guidance, is in stores right now. And the third one, The Reason, will be out in spring of 2010. But also I have a nonfiction companion book that is coming out next week called The Other Side, A Teen's Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal. And that was co-written with Patrick Burns from True TV's Haunting Evidence.
Oh, wow.
And Dave Schrader from
Darkness Radio.
At the Edge of Town Radio, yes. So we did that. And then also in October, I have another nonfiction coming out called Christmas Miracles. And it is a hardcover sort of gift book that is true stories of miracles that happen to real people at Christmas time. And that is co-authored with New York Times bestseller Cecil Murphy. And the foreword is by Don Piper, who did 90 Minutes in Heaven.
Wow.
You are just a writing fool.
I have been lately, let me tell you.
Wow, that's like 100 books in like the last few months.
You can't count.
Yeah, I know.
Now, you went to, when you were doing some research, to Waverly Asylum in Kentucky, correct?
That is correct.
And you videotaped something that a lot of people have heard of, but you got one of the best videos for this. Can you tell us kind of about what happened there?
I have to tell you, I've been on a lot of ghost investigations, and I've gotten a lot of evidence, but nothing to me tops the ball video is what I call it. And it was basically, we were at Waverly Hills Sanitarium, which for your listeners who may not know about it, it's an old tuberculosis hospital that was in existence from, I want to say, 26 to 61.
Mm-hmm.
And like over 60,000 people died there. And we were there for a Darkness Radio event that Dave Schrader did. And the first night we were able to just kind of poke around on our own. And we ended up on the 3rd floor, which is rumored to be where the school was, where the children had school. And walking along, and this ball that's on the floor that someone had left there previously rolls into my foot. And I thought, okay, that was interesting. And we sat down. And the ball is rolling around me, it's rolling behind me, it's rolling across the floor, it changes directions, it spins this way, it rolls to this person.
Wow.
And I know what you're thinking, I know what everybody's thinking. There was a gerbil in the ball. No. No gerbil in the ball. No crooked floor. Breeze. It was 98 degrees. We were praying for a breeze. The floors were level because gurneys used to, go up and down on them, obviously. And the way the ball was moving, it wasn't rocking back and forth, and it wasn't swaying. It was rolling from one person to the other and changing directions. And this went on for about 45 minutes.
Really?
And
like what kind of distance was the ball moving? Like just like a few feet? Was it going like across the hallway? What kind of distance are we talking about?
It would cross the hall. I was sitting against one wall with my back to one wall, and then people would come up and join us. And this one kid, I would say he was maybe about 8 or 9 feet from me, diagonally and down the hall, and the ball started rolling between the two of us. And it would come to me, and then it would roll down to him, and then it would change directions and come back to me before it got all the way to him. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we got 18 minutes of it on video.
Wow.
I do not have the full 18 minutes posted online because, quite frankly, when you put stuff like that up,
you open yourself up for people to belittle you and say, it's fake or there's a gerbil in the ball, which people have said to me.
You've already caught that.
Yeah, so I don't have it up because I don't need to prove it to anybody because I saw it. However, I was on an episode of A&E's biography channel. It's called My Ghost Story. And they did show some of the ball video and interviewed me about it as well as a couple of the people who were there. And if your listeners want to go to YouTube and put in My Ghost Story or The Ghost Child, they can see that segment.
The Ghost Child.
I'll go ahead and
now,
search that and put it up.
Nick's going to go ahead and put that on our website, so you can go to whispersradio.com here in just a little bit, and hopefully that'll be on our front page, your video.
Cool.
Now, how much of is it just the interviews that you have on there, or is it actual video footage of the ball rolling?
It's the segment of the show that I was on, which probably shows about 5 or 6 seconds of the video.
Okay, and then you guys talking about it?
Yes, and telling, basically what I just told you. So, yeah.
Now, what time?
It was amazing.
What time of night did this all happen?
This happened around midnight. And ironically, the other person being interviewed is my friend Dawn Shy.
We know her.
She gets phenomenal evidence when she goes out. But Dawn was called the Death Tunnel. And the Death Tunnel is this long tunnel that's behind Waverly Hills that they used to originally use to get supplies into the sanitarium, but when the people started dying so quickly and the bodies started piling up, they had to get them out of there quickly. So they had like a pulley system where they could just slide the bodies down this tunnel. And so Dawn was in the death tunnel, and she was getting some – I want to – oh, goodness, it's been so long I can't remember. I believe she got some EVPs that told her to get out, and she got her camera going in and out of focus when there was absolutely nothing in front of her. Mm-hmm. And she got that at exactly the same time that I was getting the movement with the ball.
Really?
Yeah, so we were thinking that midnight was kind of the witching hour there at Waverly that night.
I've seen other videos of people trying to do the same thing, and they'd put the ball right down on the ground, and it just sit there, and they're, come on, you want to play with the ball? And
we didn't even have to ask.
But nothing happens though. So first off, it's not, the floor. I know the floor is not unlevel, and they've went to the same place where, they've said, some people have gotten really good, results with it. What made you think to bring the ball first off?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I had heard stories about it, but we were on the 3rd floor, and there were 2 balls on the floor.
Oh, really?
That previous visitors had brought, and one was kind of one was like a red rubbery, like a kickball.
Okay.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it was smaller. Yeah, and the other one was it was blue, and it was plasticky, and when you go to the grocery store and they've got those wire racks with balls and you pull one out the bottom?
Yeah, kind of like Walmart's always got them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what kind of ball the second one was, and it was blue, and it was larger. And, we tried some experience. We tried to, blow on it to see if it would move, and it didn't. And it's just, I don't know. I can't explain it because I went back earlier this year, and there were some balls around, and I went to the exact same location, said, hey, it's me again. Remember me from last year?
Yeah.
I didn't even get any EVPs in that location this time. So, it's...
Now, why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe there were too many people there that night. There was too much going on. I don't know. They have been doing quite a lot of construction and renovation at Waverly, and it looks fantastic. They've got all these beautiful new windows, but are they disturbing the spirits in the meantime? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people think that stirs them up, like that gets them more active if there's construction or the more high energy and the more out of place they are.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if out of place would be the right word, but the more if you're doing construction and messing up their area, that's when they're most active. Well, as far as people say.
Yeah.
I got a question from somebody in one of the chat rooms. Has she heard any report? He's asked, has she heard any reports of anyone being physically attacked by the spirits while researching Waverly?
I personally haven't, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many groups do investigations at Waverly. I mean, it's one of the most popular, always booked places. So I have heard of people having run-ins with shadow people on, I want to say, the 4th floor. I've heard of people hearing the dog that allegedly was a homeless man's dog that was murdered by possibly a cult group, that the dog, you can hear the dog growling at people who try to taunt.
Mm-hmm. That'd be enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, good for Tina and Charlie who own the place. They are very much against anyone coming in and taunting or being aggressive or, you know, doing some of the stuff you see on TV that's,
sure,
you know, good for television, but in the reality of trying to respect the dead and, you know, go there with a good, responsible attitude, you know, people go in there and they try to mimic what they see in the TV show.
Yeah, I believe it was Britt Griffith from Ghost Hunters that said that could be your grandpa out there. Why would you yell at him?
Exactly. Britt's absolutely right. Yeah.
See,
and you know what? I mean, ghosts were people too, you know, and they do say if you were a bastard in real life, and you're probably a bastard on the other side, but you also want to show respect. Because like you said, it could be your grandfather and it was somebody, and you don't know what their situation is, if they're stuck, if they're there watching people. I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's cool to taunt. I think that's really tacky.
See, I've always thought that too. You know, they're not there necessarily because they want to be. And what purpose does it serve to go in and call them names and challenge them to do things? If you were stubborn as a person, you're certainly going to be stubborn as a spirit too. And I'm not going to do this. Why should I bother? You know?
Forget this guy. I'm going to sit down and play with my big rubber ball.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Now, you were probably ghost hunting before you got into writing this series, correct? I mean, for a while.
You know, I got to admit, I wasn't.
Oh, really?
I have to tell you, I didn't even know this existed before March of 2007.
So tell us how you got in on it then. If you were writing ghost hunting stories before you started ghost hunting, what was your influence? What was?
Okay, well, I did not. Well, okay, I'm the kind of writer. I've got about 15 manuscripts under the bed that never sold, and my agent and I had this conversation because she knew I was writing young adult, and I came really close a couple of times with some publishers, and my agent said to me, she says, you've really got to come up with something really high concept. And I had no idea what to write. I honestly didn't. And I went to the New England Romance Writers Conference in March of 2007. My agent was one of the speakers, so I picked her up at the airport. She gets off the plane, hops in my car, and turns to me and says, Divining Women. That's the title of your next book. I was like, okay. I said, but I write with young adults. She goes, well, fine, Divining Girls, but it's not the same. Divining Women. Figured her out. This is how she is. She's such a ball of fire. So I'm going through this conference, and I got Divining Women, like divining, what was it, Designing Women? You know, that's where her play of words.
That's what I thought you said first. Like it's been done. I don't.
Yeah. So I've got Divining Women going through my head. I'm going to these seminars and stuff. Well, I see in the program, the New England Ghost Project is going to discuss Ghost Hunting 101. I was like, what? Ghost hunting? Who does this? You know, what is this all about? So I thought, well, I'm going to go. And somebody told me, oh, you got to go to this. Weird stuff happens, like lights turn off and chairs move. I was like, all right, I got to go see this.
Wow.
And I was in their session probably for about 15, 20 minutes. They're playing EVPs. They're showing photographs they've gotten. And I'm like, wow, people ghost hunt. And they use equipment and psychics pick up things. And, oh, my God, I have to write about teenage ghost hunters. And I sat there the rest of their session, and the first book came to me like a movie in my head. And I knew that I had to befriend these people and bend their ear and go on ghost hunts with them, which I did, and I have. And, in fact, the character of Laureen, who is my heroine Kendall's mentor, she is an older woman who's a psychic, She is Kendall's mentor during her
Is
psychic
Kendall
awakening.
the main character in your book?
Kendall's my heroine, yes.
Okay.
Lorene is based on Maureen Wood, who is the psychic medium for the New England Ghost Project.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, so they were wonderful and took me under their wing and taught me how to do everything. And then, of course, I started watching Ghost Hunters and Dead Famous and Haunting Evidence and Most Haunted. And
you got the fever.
I did. I got the fever. And then, I went on my first ghost hunt in August of 2007. And I'm trying to think when I sold the book. November of 2007 is when we sold the series.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, so between March and November, March and I would say October, I wrote the book, did a lot of research, wrote the book, and then we had, and then we, of course, sold it.
Yeah, we're going to take a break really quick. Stick with us, and we're going to get right back to your story on how you got up with these ghost hunts and your inspirations for your story. We'll be right back on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. The former West Virginia Penitentiary housed some of the most violent criminals in history. Many of the prisoners who lived there also died there. It is known for being one of the most bloody institutions in the United States. Don't miss your chance to experience the former West Virginia Penitentiary. Your tour will consist of an astonishing 90 minutes that offers an awesome history, a touch of art, cold hard facts, and an education of the justice system. Tours start 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, go to www.wvpentours.com or call them at 304-843-4146.
Discovered an important note from space. The Martians plan to
Please.
throw a dance for all the
I did not choose this. One guess as to who did.
He's been telling me about this for like 2 weeks.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Whispers, everybody, on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog.
Do you have your tinfoil hat in your bag, too?
Yes, I do.
All right.
See, I thought that was funny. I found
it is cute.
If anybody likes that song and wants to throw a little bit of support out, go to it's Martian Hop from the Randells. Listen to it, love it. It's fun.
It is. I'm not. Okay.
You big fun. Meanie.
I am not a big.
Oh, I went there, Lo.
Oh, you did. You did.
It's 6:39
Marley,
p.m.
see what I got to deal with.
72 degrees. I'm Jordan Klein. He's Nick Queen. She's Lola Miller, and our wonderful guest, Miss Marley Gibson. How you doing, Marley?
I'm doing great.
Now, we were talking about your experiences with getting up into the, I guess, when you started ghost hunting. How was it for you, like, when you first started? Were you kind of, like, leery on how things were happening? Did you just jump right in full force?
You know, I honestly had no idea what to expect. So I don't think I went into it in any kind of jaded fashion or any kind of way expecting anything.
Uh-huh.
I was just in it. I kind of went in as a sponge.
And that's funny because that's exactly, well, pretty much, I mean, we weren't writing a book, but Nick and I got in the same way. We saw a ghost hunting 101 class and was like, let's go do it. It'll be fun. And after the first night, it was like,
I was doing a research paper for college.
I have no life, so.
Yeah. I'm like, Jordan, you want to go? He's like, I've got plenty of time. Okay, let's go.
Sure, why not? What else?
It was funny because, as I said, I watched this presentation that the New England Ghost Project did, and, I'm hearing these sound files that they've got, and they've got these pictures of apparitions and light anomalies and stuff and orbs, but we all had the orbs conversation now. But yeah. I remember the first picture I took where I got an orb. I'm like, oh, this is an orb. I'm so excited. But I actually, the very first ghost hunt that I went on was with them to a place called Buttonwood Museum, and it's in Haverhill, Massachusetts. And I don't really remember the story off the top of my head, but the house dates back to like 18 early something. And a lot of people died in the house, and there was a little girl who lived in the attic and died, and there's all this stuff there. But the first time I went there with them, Maureen, the psychic for the team, was traveling out of the country. So we were just learning about the equipment and the detectors and stuff like that. And there was a woman in the group. She was a paid attendee who started channeling. She like went down on her knees and started crying like a baby, and she started channeling.
Wow.
And for some reason, I didn't buy it. The first time she did it, I was like, wow, I hope she's okay. And then she came back. Second time she did it, I was like, okay, there she goes again. The third time she did it, she went down on her knees, and I heard somebody behind me go, oh, good God, there she goes again. So I don't think I was the only one in the group that didn't buy it. And because by the end of the night, excuse me, by the end of the night, she was fine, got in her car and left. You know, and I said, I went up to the guy who ran the event, and I said, you know, I'm learning this stuff, but that was total BS. I completely don't believe anything that I saw her do. And somebody said, yeah, she's been going to see psychics, and she's been opening herself up, and she wants to be a psychic and all this stuff. And I thought, yeah, okay, she was putting a show on for us. And because of that, I came up with the idea for the second Ghost Hunters book.
Okay, what was that?
I thank this woman for faking it. Well, in the second Ghost Hunters book, it's called The Guidance, which this is a book that's coming out. Well, actually, it's out now. Kendall, my heroine, has a little problem with a popular girl at school who is jealous of the attention that Kendall's getting because of her psychic abilities. So she decides to pretend that she's psychic as well. And it's all fun and games until she invites a disturbing entity into herself. Da, da, da.
See,
Bum, bum, bum.
That's never
Sorry,
a
I'll throw
good
that
idea.
in.
So, you know, people say to me, you know, where do you get your inspirations for these stories? Well, you never know. I mean,
Things just happen, and I mean, it's, you know,
Now, was it a last-minute
yeah.
type of thing? Because I know a lot of writers, you know, they could be trying to write a book, and then, like, the last thing, like, that would happen, just something small would, like, just happen and click something in their brain, and they'd be able to write an entire book, like, you know, right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I try to write, and I try to sit down and think of ideas, and nothing comes up, but I can be going down even at the grocery store, and something all of a sudden, what a good idea, you know, and you know, just seeing somebody walking with a limp. I mean, it's, you know, writing's tough.
It is, and you know, I don't want to say this to belittle anyone who might be trying to write, but everybody has had to write something at some point in their life.
Mm-hmm.
They've had to write a thank you note or a term paper, or you know, or maybe they've taken a stab at poetry or something. Everyone thinks they can write, but not everyone can write.
True.
And not everyone should write.
True again.
And I commend those people who do try and stay at it and are tenacious and persevere. And those are the people that will make it. But so many people email me or contact me and say, how do I get published? And I'll say, okay, you got a manuscript? Well, no, I've never written anything, but I have an idea for a book. How do I get it published? And I say, you write it. You get the words out of your head onto the computer screen.
See, and that's been my problem too. I got like a whole children's series in my head, and I've never put it on paper.
See, you got to do it. If you want to do it, you got to do it.
To write, you actually have to write, and that's the problem with me. I have these great ideas, and it's just like, the heck do I? And it's like, well, you got to sit down and write, and I'm, well, there a program for that? I mean, you know, they'll just do it, from me thinking about it. It's hard. Writing's, you have to be brave to be a writer. What's that?
It is work.
Yeah,
it's work. I mean, a lot of people, yes, it's fun to go to Amazon and read your reviews and, and look at the book cover and cry to see your name on there. But, you know, this represents for me, I've been writing my whole life, but I started writing seriously to try to get published in 2001. And like I said, I have 17 completed manuscripts that
Wow.
never sold.
Yeah, I have to ask you this though. You said you go to Amazon and read your reviews, and I honestly say I linked to your books to Amazon, but I didn't go down and read the reviews, so I don't know if this is the case. If you ever see a negative one, and I don't know if there's any there, how do you react? Because I picture myself in there, and part of me's like, I'll show them, and then
he calls me up crying, thinking about it. We know how this works.
I mean, did you have any? I mean, I don't know if you even have any negative ones there, but if there were, how do you think you would react, or what have you done? I guess.
Well, I'm looking at Amazon, Ghost Hunters Book 1, The Awakening. There are 50 customer reviews for an average of 4 out of 5 stars. So I'm pretty
good.
lucky
yeah,
there.
There you go.
So what you're saying is you're a
are,
really good writer.
Well, there are 4 2-star reviews, and I do admit that I read them, and I also admit that I try not to get upset because I don't know what that person's frame of mind is. I don't know if they're a writer who's gotten rejected. I don't know what their situation is because, you don't really have to withhold you don't have to say who you are, but like for instance, neat concept, weak writing. I thought the author presented a great idea but executed the idea poorly. It wasn't just a heavy product placement and tired pop culture references. To me, there was just too much telling and not enough showing. So to me, as a writer, you go to writers' conferences and they tell you to show and not tell. I mean, there are like conferences that will based about show, don't tell. So to me, Adele might be a writer who has been to one too many conferences about show, don't tell, and she read my book and thought, well, why didn't my book get published? I mean,
I did tell, I know what you mean. And that's the biggest problem I think I've had trying to get into writing. Sitting in writing class and you write something and you throw it out there and then people will say something. The next thing you know, you grab a hold of it. And I wish I could ignore it. I commend you.
Well, here's the thing. You really have to grow a rhinoceros skin because not everybody's going to like what you do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this very digital age that we live in, anybody and their brother can blog. Anybody and their brother can comment.
Even Lola.
Yeah.
Yes, I do on rare occasion.
But, I have to say I am very fortunate. I have very, very strong reviews for both Ghost Huntress, The Awakening, and The Guidance, even though The Guidance just came out. I've got 20 reviews already on Amazon for both of them have an average of 4 out of 5 stars, so I'm doing really well.
That's great. And something else we just want to add, your publisher or publicist is letting us give away 2 of those books today.
The Guidance.
Awesome.
Of The Guidance. So if you're out there in Radioland and would like a copy, and this goes for all of our friends, not just the ones locally, because we can get them shipped to you. Number's 304-243. No, what is that?
That's my number.
That's Nick's number.
And for a good time, call 243.
It's 304-214-1600. Or if it's toll free, it's 1-866-514-1600. Sorry about that, Nikki.
Thanks. First 2 callers get the book.
Yeah, we got 2 books to give away, so the first
Lola
2 get
will
them.
be taking the addresses and giving them to me, and I'll be sending them out, and they'll be sent to you.
Awesome.
So I so far everybody I've talked to actually that has read a lot of your books because I go to a website called Goodreads. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. They love your books. I run I found the YA book club there, so I'm gonna try to get them to read one of your books for their one of their book clubs coming up, hopefully. So.
Awesome! Thank you.
But it seems like a lot of people really love the books. We have somebody on the phone now, and so that might be 1 book out of the way. So.
No,
Marley.
Marley.
There's only 1 book left.
Now, Marley, did you say there's 5 books in the series? Correct? The Ghost Huntress?
Well, I originally sold. I'm hearing 3 different people talking.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I originally sold. The first deal was the first 3 books. The Awakening, The Guidance, and The Reason, and that was meant to be a trilogy. And I have to say that The Awakening was out for about 4 months, and my publisher and my editor are just so pleased with how it's doing. My editor called my agent and said, I want to buy more books. So
Wow.
so there will be 2 more books at least, and my working titles for them are The Counseling and The Journey.
Now, so you haven't started writing these yet?
No, I don't even have I have a seed of an idea for book 4, and I'm doing some research on it. And then book 5, I have another seed of what I want to do. But I have, in the reason, the story arc for the whole first 3 books kind of wraps up in the reason. And so what I have to do is I have to come up with a new arc that goes through a couple of books. So I just have to think about it. And, my characters are so real to me. I have to see what I want to put them through,
Now, I don't want to force any opinions on you for the books, but your main character should, go hang out with some radio hosts called, on Whispers Radio.
Just ignore him. He tries this all the time. He also wants to get into his big idea. The one he pitches the most is he wants to be killed in a book, and I think
he wants
to die.
I want to be killed like pretty gorily, horrifically in a book. But you're a teen writer, so I don't know if that happens much.
Well,
so
I tell you, The Awakening is sort of an introductory book to just ghost hunting in general.
Yeah.
But the guidance gets a little darker. There isn't a spirit oppression. And in The Reason, there's some really dark stuff that happens in The Reason. So the more these books go on, the darker I'm getting.
Can you kill me in a book?
I could possibly kill you in a book, yes.
I love you.
However, if anything happens to you, I need to be completely exonerated.
I'll exonerate you.
Like if I die the same way, like in real life, like.
There's another book.
Well, the answer is we'll make you some bitter Civil War soldier or something like that.
There we go.
Well, have we given away the books?
Yes, we did. Barb Applegarth and Jim Benda.
Congratulations, Barb and Jim.
Hope you enjoy it.
We had other calls too, but we only had the 2. So
we will be giving away. Working on Patrick Burns will be coming. For the other book, which I was wanting to ask you about, because he's one of the co-authors of The Other Side, so I'm still trying to get final nailed down confirmation of when. But Marley's other book, The Other Side, will be shipped out of here as well. So, and The Other Side is pretty much telling teens, is like a teen how-to guide, correct?
Well, what we did, my editor and I were talking about how since we're putting this series out about ghost hunting, there are all these TV shows and stuff that like we were talking about earlier that provoke and do silly things. I thought it'd be a good idea to have a companion to the Ghost Huntress series that could show teens how to responsibly ghost hunt. And so I teamed up with Dave and Patrick, who are 2 people who have mentored me ever since I've met them and helping me along learning this field.
Yeah.
And the 3 of us together really felt like we really needed to educate that next generation of ghost hunters. And so we take a very responsible, mature, hands-on approach to the field because, teens are going to do it anyway. So they should be, I'm not saying that we have all the answers or that the way we suggest it is the only way you can do it, but we're trying to be responsible and teaching them to have a mentor and to get permission to go into places and not sneak around and don't do anything illegal.
And stay out of graveyards in the middle of the night unless you're...
Exactly. All good stuff like that, to protect themselves. And so we really try to take a very, very responsible approach to all this while having some fun and being a little snarky with our language and making it fun as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had Dave on the show. He was great. So I know
he's a lot of fun. Really nice guy.
So far, both of you. I have not talked to Patrick yet. So far, it sounds like it's going to be, really fun just because of the people that wrote it. So.
Oh, absolutely. We had a blast writing it. We went to a house in Sauk Center, Minnesota. And it's a haunted hotel. It's kind of like a little boutique hotel, but they have some of their rooms are haunted, and allegedly haunted, I should say. And their basement, they have activity there too. But we sat and divvied up the chapters, and we sat there for like 4 days and wrote the book together. And then we did a little ghost hunt with a college group that was in the area. We had fun doing that. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun getting the book done.
Well, I bet, and like Nick said, we've had the majority of your little writing trio there on this show, so there's no way it can be anything bad because the both of you are like super people. So I mean, I can't see.
Well, thank you.
Can't see how anybody would be let down by listening or reading it.
Well,
we're gonna have to have you get back on once you're in the spring when the next book comes out.
Yeah, every time you decide to release one of your 100 books, we're gonna have you back on.
That's cool.
Because I'm having a blast. We are out of time though. We have to cut for CNN News.
Okay, sure.
I want to thank you very much, Miss Marley Gibson.
Oh, thank you guys.
Website, marleygibson.com.
marleygibson.com and ghosthuntress.com.
And ghosthuntress.com. You can check out her books. You have a blog too, right?
Yes, it's booksboysbuzz.com. And I do that with 5 other young adult authors.
And that's awesome.
And check out their books too. They got some great books too.
Booksboysbuzz.com.
Because I'm not going to say it because I can't. That would be so hard for me. I would mess it up.
Check it out, everybody out there. Keep in touch because these books are going to be going places. Marley, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
You have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. See, I'm excited. I want to read them.
You just want to be in the book.
I do, and she said that she'd kill me.
She wouldn't be the first.
Is that...
Lola and I are going to be throwing a party.
Is that sick, Lo? That I want to be killed in a book?
You notice we didn't jump in.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the both of you want me dead.
No, we're going to be called survivors.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to...
Well, she wants to make you a Civil War soldier, so Lola will be, in this big, huge...
Hoop
one of those
dress.
troop dresses.
Yeah.
Mighty, Mr. Klein been killed.
I do
Mr.
declare.
Klein, I just wish you was all honey and sugar like you always thought you was. Oh, Mr. Klein. Go get me some more tea, honey.
Jeez Louise. You guys kill me. Bad pun, I know.
Then boom, and you die, and then that's the only entrance, and then it's back into modern time. We have no idea why it was Civil War.
Yeah.
So, see, Lola would be the canon. Lola would be like carved into the canon that puts me to my doom.
They would name the canon after me. Yeah, there you go.
Because whatever Lola wants,
Lola
gets.
Yeah.
We'll have to use that song again one day.
All right, everybody, it's time for CNN. Learn you some news. We'll be right back. You're listening to Whispers
You're already
Radio.
talking like a Civil War dude.
On WKKX and UPRN. We'll be right back.
Pulling out at first dawn's light. Gotta free my mind, get you out of sight. All across this open sea, sparkle blue beauty like a young man's dream.
The former West Virginia Penitentiary housed some of the most violent criminals in history. Many of the prisoners who lived there also died there. It is known for being one of the most bloody institutions in the United States. Don't miss your chance to experience the former West Virginia Penitentiary. Your tour will consist of an astonishing 90 minutes that offers an awesome history, a touch of art, cold hard facts, and an education of the justice system. Tours start 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, go to www.wvpentours.com or call them at 304-843-4146.
And we're back. Welcome back to Whispers on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley Boulevard.
He
I'm
has been dying to do this to you for
done.
6 months. And
I'm
you blew
done.
it, Nick.
My old address used to be Valley Boulevard, and I'm start going through, and I didn't get watched on.
So today on Whispers Kids at Home, you guys learned Nick's phone number and where he
His
lives.
old address, yeah.
I was choking on a piece of cookie that Nick brought me. See? Listen, this is how it is. He is trying to kill me for real.
You said
Everybody
you wanted to
out
die.
There, in a book. Everybody out there, he's trying to kill me. Save me.
You get what you ask for. Here, have this cup of nice juice.
Oh, my gosh. I'm making a phone call.
Have some of this Kool-Aid and Jell-O.
Yeah. Let's have some Kool-Aid. You been drinking the Kool-Aid? I think so.
You drink first.
Yeah, not
I'm
it on
sorry, I
first.
was trying to save you, and I ruined it.
So thank you. It's 7:09 p.m. here in downtown Wheeling, about 72 degrees. Give us a call, 304-214-1600. If you're out of the area, 1-866-514-1600. And that's toll free, in case you don't want to pay for it.
While we're waiting for our guest, I got a quick announcement promo for the second annual Spiro Academy Golf Scramble, September 19th, 2009. Did you do this last year?
No.
I thought you. Can't remember who it was with me.
I don't play golf.
I was horrible. I couldn't even hit the ball. But it's going to be at Robbins Ridge, 9 a.m. Shotgun start for registration. It's $50 a person, $200 per team. Price includes 18 holes of golf plus the cart. Refreshments at the turn, door prizes, closest to the pin, longest drive, and dinner. And the dinner was great last time. All kinds of people brought stuff. It was wonderful. Prizes, first $400, first place prize per team, $200 second place prize per team. Do not join my team. You will not win a prize. I will ruin it. It's horrible.
Unless only 2 teams join.
Yeah, and that's the only way. And if you want to sponsor a hole, which I believe you'd have the advertisement on the hole. I'm not sure how this works. But yeah, well, you'd have an advertisement at the hole. That's right. It's $50. I have no idea about what I'm talking about. I'm reading. It's $50 advertisement on the hole.
This is an English teacher.
I'm scrambled. I started saying my address.
You've got a cold anyway.
I do. It's see what's happening to me.
Don't encourage him.
I know.
For me.
Okay, come on.
$100 ad on the hole. $100 for an ad on the hole program and the yearbook for the school, and this benefits the Fine Arts Department and resources of the Academy.
Spiro Academy.
So Spiro Academy. And phone number, if you want to do this, 304-243-00. Let me see. Is this the right number? No, wait. I'm sorry. Wrong number. 740-738-0203. That's 740-738-0203. Because they have a private number on there. I didn't want to read it. I've almost given away 3. Yeah. Okay, you guys go ahead. I'm done.
Well, we have our guest, Dr. Rand, on the phone.
Here. He's probably like, I'm hanging up.
I know it. I know it.
I would.
All right, our second hour guest, Dr. Jaysen Rand. He has written a book called The Return of Planet X, and I believe the subtitle is Wormwood. Dr. Rand, are you with us?
I sure am, and thank you so much for having me on. I really look forward to tonight.
No, we have been too, and I mean, we had another, like a few weeks ago, we had somebody talking about a mystery planet, but I don't think we were done with the questions, and I don't think that we were satisfied. We wanted more, and we were intrigued.
Let's give it a whirl.
Now let's talk about Wormwood.
Okay, what it is, what it isn't, and all that stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to move fast. Is that okay?
That works for us.
All right. You interrupt me if you have a question, but I'm just going to roll.
All right, let's go.
All right. The reason that we have the title Wormwood on the front of our book is because a lot of my original inspiration, and in fact, the Kingpin piece, it's like when you have a picture puzzle and you put the whole puzzle together and you have one piece left. You obviously know where the piece goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you put it in place is when the first time you see the whole thing. So, when I was researching the book, by the way, I have about 7.5 years of research. I've gone through over 2,500 books. I've used evidence and in captions from at least 200 books to write this one book.
Really?
on the subject. My personal library, I have about 4,500 books, about 2,000 of them on metaphysics, the paranormal. So this book comes very well researched. I've got 2,000 references in it. They're all listed after each chapter. In other words, this isn't, some guy screaming from the top of a red tent, right?
Okay.
This is a serious work. I can honestly tell you that I'm delivering an informational piece. It's just like an infomercial. This country, our planet, at this time, we are about to go through a very serious set of what I believe are naturally occurring natural disasters. Why? Very
Why
simple.
indeed?
Well, we talked about wormwood at the very beginning of the show. If you go to chapter 8, verse 11, and I'll quote, and the name of the star was wormwood, unquote. Now, the verses that preceded that particular verse, we're talking about chapter 8, verse 11. The previous verses before verse 11 all talked about the characteristics of
which book
body.
is this? This is a Bible verse, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which book of the Bible?
The book of Revelation.
Okay.
Written by St. John the Divine.
Yes.
Okay. Words the words of that particular book of the Bible are to be attributed to Jesus Christ himself. This is not a religious program, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just talking about a reference point to get me where I needed to go to find out the evidence that I needed to cement my case.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it in that particular chapter of the book of Revelation. Everything, by the way, everybody out there, everything that we're talking about tonight together is in our book. So if you have questions, we'll answer them. I'm kind of thinking we might want to do a part 2. What do you think? We'll set up all the questions, and then next time maybe around we'll do questions. How's that?
There we go.
That work for everybody?
Works for us.
Okay. I guess you could use the book as a textbook. Yeah, that would be.
Come on.
That's funny.
Professor Rand, are you going to teach us
We're not
something?
going to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, Professor Rand, are you going to teach us something?
Yes. I'm teaching you that this subject is very serious to me.
Okay.
We believe that within the next 18 to 32 months, our planet and all of the other bodies in the solar system will probably go through some very, very serious changes. I believe, as stated in the book, that these changes are already happening in great fold. California is on fire. The Baja is about ready to get hit by a Category 4 hurricane. Things just aren't right.
Yeah.
The planet is very disturbed. Now, part of this, I believe, is caused by the fact that this incoming body, this small brown dwarf star we call wormwood, has returned here about every 36 to 4,000 years on a regular schedule. We traced back in our book all the way back to 300,000 years. And about every 3,600 to 4,000 years, there was a really nasty major set of earth-shaking events that crumbled all those cultures. The Lemurias went down, the Atlantises went down, the Mayan culture, all of these things are cyclical. But something has to cause the cycle in the first place. So we believe that it is caused by this celestial incoming body. Now, we believe, through all the research, and of course, it's not just my word. Just go to the internet and Google up Planet X or Wormwood or whatever. You will get 100,000 reference points to check out. My story is not unique. It's just that I put it all together. You see, I've kind of wove it together into some kind of an understandable meaning, and thus the return of Planet X. X is not a planet. We believe it's a small brown dwarf star about the size of Saturn or as small as our moon. This is all new celestial mechanics.
Hold on. I thought Saturn was a lot bigger than our moon.
No, I said this incoming body could be as large as Saturn.
Sorry, I just misunderstood
there. Or as small as the moon or the Earth.
Okay.
Okay, we're not sure because this is all new science to us. Now, we've never seen a brown dwarf up close. But if all the research points to this event about to happen, it would explain all of the aberrant behavior of the weather. You see, it's not global warming and it's not global cooling. The planet itself, Earth, is extremely confused right now because this incoming body is affecting our sun. And I'm sure you've heard the fact that our sun, which should be nearing what's known as a solar maximum period ending in 2012, we should be on the rise. In other words, if we were looking at a giant clock and the hand was going toward midnight being 2012, right now the sun should be at about a 9.5 to 10 point on a clock of going into its maximum period of solar activity. But it's strangely, absolutely unexplainably quiet.
Now, is this because,
almost dead.
Now, is this because this Planet X or Wormwood, whatever you want to call it, is causing like a gravitational pull on the sun, which is
gravitational you're absolutely right.
Okay.
But gravitational forces are only one part of it. There are electromagnetics. There are dimensional shift aspects. Remember all that stuff everybody heard about in Star Trek? Remember? Polar shift, this and that, whatever. Okay. All this stuff has relativity and meaning. I think that if the sun suddenly should come awake for some reason, something's cooling it, quieting it down. But if it erupts, did everyone see the movie about with Nicolas Cage and about the solar flares that hit the Earth?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not predicated on science fiction. It could happen. And even a small solar burst could certainly disrupt communications on this planet. Imagine if we got a sudden, awful, awful burst in radiation and we didn't have any electrical grids around the planet for 2 years. Can you imagine how far back we would be slung into our development?
Yeah, nowadays I don't think half the
most people wouldn't
population
survive.
would be able to survive.
Yeah. No survival skills whatsoever.
Absolutely. So when I speak about these things, it's not to go, oh my God, we're going to die. That's not the point. The point is we already know that things are wrong. We already know what's going on with the government. We already know that all the other countries of the world are preparing themselves for some kind of a nasty, nasty something around 2012. And I'm begging to share with you that I think what's going to happen is, added to terrorism and the banking problems and the terrorists and all this other stuff, if we should suddenly have a period of pretty serious changes, let's say, one 24-hour period around November of 2011, there was a very awful global earthquake, and it took out 7 or 8 major cities.
Yeah.
How far back would we be slung on that one?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would take months just to get over the devastation of lives lost.
I was through the 90s. Do you gentlemen remember and ladies remember the 1994 Northridge quake, the 6.7 quake that hit Studio City in Thousand Oaks area?
No, I was young.
That one, Lola?
Yeah, I do.
I was in it. I was in an apartment building that came down. They dug us out.
Wow.
And the strange thing is, there was no. You want to talk paranormal? And I'll go back to X in a second. Out of the 100,000 telephone lines that were down all around the area where I lived, my telephone was the only one that FEMA could use to discuss what was going on. Now, how's that for being on the inside, the fly on the wall?
I guess so.
That's funny.
I hope you charged them.
No, I didn't, but I used a lot of it for my book. I guess I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yes, I would say.
Well, there's a whole chapter there on the government this and what they didn't do, what they should know, what they're not telling us, how we should prepare for what they might be preparing for us. By the way, be real delicious when you consider your acceptance of the flu shots. That's all I'm going to say.
Be what?
Be very judicious about your choice to take the shot.
For a second, I thought you said delicious.
I said delicious.
Okay,
delicious thinking.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was making sure. I was like, oh,
yeah. No.
I'm sorry.
I don't think of shots as being delicious.
I'm very serious. I know my topic, but at the same time, I'm discussing this with friends, and I'm
Oh,
enjoying
of course.
myself.
Yeah, and we're loving it so far. Now you're talking about this is going to be starting in 2009, which is where
we're already in it.
we're all living.
We're already in it.
Why, it's been around for a long time.
It's been around since 1982. All these aberrant changes started about 1982. And by the way, that's the same year that NASA itself. All right, quick story. We've got time, right? We got another half hour?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we got to take a break at 7:30, and then we're good after that.
Well, I think this is important to understand.
Yes, sir.
The reason I use the title Planet X, The Return to Planet X, is because it's not my title. In 1982, NASA was doing an extended amount of deep solar probing, and they were first using infrared telescopes, and whoa and lo to their little surprise, they find this great big churning chunk of rock, something massive, coming directly at us out of the Orion portion of the galaxy.
Wow.
And they called it. They said they never knew. They did not know what it was. It was very strange. They want to look at it some more. It had low light intensity. It was probably. They said it was probably some kind of a burning asteroid. Well, they came pretty close, and they called it Planet X. They called it in a series of news articles, press releases. It hit the newspapers and the radio and TV, but within 24 hours, they scrubbed it completely, absolutely clean, and you were sworn to secrecy, and all the copy was destroyed.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, why do we not hear about this more?
Well, it would set off alarm bells and things right now. If you want to look at what's happening this very moment tonight, our planet is in enough turmoil right now between terrorism and the Israeli state and the Iranians and North Korea and China. Where do I go from here? Do you know that every day the interest on our debt is $500 million?
Wow.
It's staggering to understand the position we put ourselves in, but that's not the purpose of this conversation. But it's all part of it. Simply because if you take this and that, okay, you have this huge plate in front of you and it's full of delicious fruit, but all that fruit are these problems all around the world, okay? If that isn't enough for your concentration, imagine if someone started shaking the table and all of these things in that fruit basket started falling all over the place and bumping into each other. I'm being metaphoric about it.
Yeah.
You got my picture.
Yeah, we got you.
It would be absolute planetary mayhem. And the nasties would probably make their moves then, because that's when everybody's defenses are down, everybody's concentration is off. Imagine if we lost San Francisco and we lost San Diego, and on the East Coast we lost Boston, and North Carolina went to a huge tidal wave, and Florida washed away. Where would we be? We'd be back worrying about ourselves, not the rest of the world. You see?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, we've got time to think about these things. We have time. If we have time to debate this whole issue about medical insurance that's taking everybody's concentration. By the way, what a great way to get your mind off of Afghanistan.
I call this the look over there theory.
Yep. And then the kick and you punt.
Yep.
Now, that's not the purpose. I totally agree, but it's not the purpose of our conversation tonight. But if you put all these things together, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The issues, the problems. California's on fire. This is the worst set of forest fires in over 1,000 years of history that they know of. Never this big. It's 5 times the size of Manhattan.
Jeez.
And growing. I just saw, while I was waiting for your call, I just checked out the Weather Channel. By the way, watch what the Weather Channel talks about. It's right in front of you. They are using the Weather Channel very wisely. This is not a conspiracy thing I'm talking about, or some kind of a weird social thing. They're using the right medium to talk about the problems at hand. If you notice, the Weather Channel never ever talks about good weather, does it?
No.
Ever, 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 ever. It always talks about the bad things. But that's what it was designed to do, because it's an early warning channel of information. That's all the Weather Channel is. And it should be doing what it's doing. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it should be doing a better job of telling us why the planet is behaving this way, not just telling us what's happening with the planet.
I mean, you can even go back a little further. I mean, Katrina was just massive. I was watching Benjamin Button. Anybody remember Benjamin Button?
Yes.
And
Great movie.
And they have a radar of Katrina.
Yep,
and
and
it reminded me again of and I'm thinking, what a just massive storm that was. I mean, it was just all red. You know, I used to live in North Carolina, so I was, and I think you're in Louisiana or Mississippi.
I'm in the northwest corner of Mississippi.
So you see, well, you knew
We've already
Katrina
had
then.
Three tornadoes have come here, and one night on the second one that came was in September of '05. Like a fool, I wanted to go out and see what it was. And it was about 300 feet above me. And you remember that scene from Twister when all the stuff was flying around and around and around in a counterclockwise motion?
Yes.
Well, that's what I looked up and saw in a bolt of lightning. So
I
know about tornadoes, too, and they are very nasty.
I lived on a tornado alley.
Oh,
I know exactly.
Oklahoma area?
No, Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Oh, yeah.
And it's just, the sky turns that greenish yellow color, and it gets real still, and I panic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mother Nature, first of all, gives no quarter, asks no permission, and is absolutely uncontrollable.
Yeah. Dr. Rand, we're going to have to take a break here real quick. When we get back, I want to talk about this a little bit more.
I want to talk about the UFOs too, because I know UFOs tie into a lot of
what we're talking about. It ties into all of it. It's all in the book.
And that's what I want to get to, if everybody else doesn't mind, and Mr. Dr. Rand.
Can we give an 800 number when we come back?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Sure can. We'll be right back. You're listening to Whispers Radio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
Pulling out at first dawn's light. Gotta free my mind, get you out of sight.
And now back to Whispers, brought to you by West Virginia Penitentiary Tours.
First dawn's light. Gotta free my mind, get you
This is what he told me to play.
I think oh, there we go. Well, I think the other theme's underneath it.
What's under? Oh.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Why?
Welcome back to Whispers on AM 1600 WKKX.
I have one question.
You're about to find out, Dr. Rand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Lola's wondering, why are we playing this?
Well, I'm proud to say that was a Grammy-nominated record by Peter Brown. And it stayed number one for, I think, number one in 8 consecutive weeks as a dance record, and it was number one on the dance charts for like 26 weeks. So it's a very special record. It was great fun making it. The great Betty Wright sang background. 60 Minutes came out to the studio we were working with in New York, and they put us. We were on 60 Minutes. So it's a great memory.
All right, wait,
and I appreciate you playing it. Go, Peter.
And Lola's dancing. Woo! It's a really good song. I liked it.
It was fun making it. Really was.
I think I remember it.
Well,
it was. I noticed it was a Summer of Sam soundtrack.
Yes, it was in the movie too.
And I'm trying to remember which one was it. The
actually, Do You Want to Get Funky was in the movie as well as Dance with Me.
Oh, see, they're going to do a disco night at a local bar here.
Oh wow!
Oh,
you got to get this
to
play.
Yeah, I have
Peter
great
Brown
12-inch records out there. You can get them off the internet. I was the king of 12-inch. I was the original person that pressed the first 12-inch vinyl, creating a record, and it was by a Bahamian group, and I took it by hand under my arm. I had 50 copies pressed, took them on the airplane, and I went to New York City in a driving awful thunderstorm that became an ice storm, and I got pneumonia from it. But I got it, and it went to #1 next week.
Wow.
It went to #1 because when I hit New York, then they make copies on tape and send it to all their other DJs, and all of a sudden it was like one of those, whoa, where'd that song come from?
That's cool.
I think
That's the story behind that.
I think the name of the person that put this is on YouTube that we got found it on is like Rare 12-inch.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes,
Like, yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're
Yes,
readily
sir.
available.
So okay, so
I
they're
got
not
about
as rare.
22 titles out there.
But it very good job. And
Thank
and
you, sir.
you had a lot of and you were talking about those like the 12 them are platinum records and
Yes.
And so it was very impressive. So we had. To,
I'll send you guys a picture for this, an autographed picture to the station. How's that?
Well,
there we go.
That'd
we'll
be
put it
great.
up
All
on
the
the
gold
wall.
records, and I'll blow it up. I'll make it, 17 by 18, whatever.
Cool.
50 inches
Okay.
by.
Oh,
And I'll have it laminated. How's that?
There we go.
thank you so much.
George wanted to put a banner outside.
we can wave it like a flag
Oh,
outside.
absolutely.
That's how we promote our guests.
All right, well, let's get back to
Let's
the
jump back to topic.
Yes, I'm sorry. This was
No,
diversion.
It's fun. I'm having a great
All
time
right,
tonight.
we're okay. Planet X and
Okay.
UFOs. That's
Okay.
that's where we want to go, and that's as direct as I can
All right,
make it. Let's
all right,
go
all right,
that way.
all right. This Planet X thing, we got to tell you where Planet X originally came from. We believe, as do ancient archaeologists and many fabulous writers. It's all in the book. By the way, let me do a quick 800 1-800-247-6553. That's the magic number. 1-800-247-6553. We can also get it in an ebook version instantly to your computer. So if you call, the publisher will take your information that we can get you a book in 24 hours. Signed copies, you can contact me at my website.
And I'll go ahead and put that information up on our
Okay.
on our website.
We got a great new
right now.
website. Great new website, www.returnofplanetx.com. That's simple. Returnofplanetx.com. There's a hyphen between the X and the T. And it'll tell you everything about me in the book and pictures and wallpapers and all kinds of exciting stuff. Music, too. Oh, some of my music is on there, too.
Very
Great.
awesome.
All right, back to topic. What is Planet X? What is wormwood? Where did it come from? And why should we worry about it? Okay, number one, we believe that this solar system of ours was created with 12 original planets and several moons. There was no asteroid belt, and it probably had a small baby sun because our solar system was capable of hosting a binary star system. Now, usually in binary star systems, there's a principal star and there's a smaller star, like a little baby sister star. Our part of the galaxy is known to have 89 to 90% of the suns in our sector of the galaxy very well may be binary or more planetary structures. Now, we think that around 4.5 to 5 billion years ago, a gigantic wandering, meaner than a steer in a corral, came roaring through the solar system, huge, probably the size of a planet, this big rock from somewhere, and it came through what's known as the ecliptic plane of our solar system. Have you guys ever seen a picture where you see the sun and all the planets are in this giant pie-shaped circle around it? You've seen an overview like that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's called the plane of the ecliptic. So imagine that in perfect balance, and suddenly something comes crashing through it. Now, it's one thing if it comes crashing through it in the same rotational movement. See, our solar system, as does the sun, as do all the stars and all the systems, for some reason, they all rotate in a counterclockwise motion. Hurricanes, tornadoes, they all rotate in a counterclockwise motion. This object came crashing into the plane of the ecliptic, crashing through the solar system in a clockwise trajectory and in a clockwise motion. So it's like a huge Mack truck coming at you on a 2-lane highway, you see?
Yep.
When it hits you, it's over. It's instantly, forever over. We think that this object came through 4.5 to 5 billion years ago, came through, smashed into an outer rocky planet called Marduk, hit it, smashed it into gillions upon gillions and trillions of pieces, which eventually became the asteroid belt that exists between Mars and Jupiter.
Now, I got a quick question for you. There's a couple of people asking in the chat room, is this the same star or planet we're talking about that Nostradamus had called Nibiru? I'm hoping I'm saying that right.
Nibiru.
Nibiru. There, you say it much better than
I do.
It's also
Sitchin's work.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing. Okay, good.
Strangely enough, I believe that there is a 12th planet still out there, and I think that's what is called Nibiru. So they are right about that.
Huh.
What I think they may not have as a complete composite picture is that this small brown dwarf sun, at its craziest, could in fact have Nibiru in tow. That would explain the position that many people take that originally this Earth was inhabited by giants, because as these legends go, the people from Nibiru, the creatures from Nibiru, are giant creatures.
Well, that's biblical as well, the Nephilim.
Yes, that's the Nephilim. Yes, correct. Now, I'm not necessarily buying into all of it, but I'm telling you that there could be.
Yeah.
There could very well be another hidden component to this whole Wormwood Planet X thing. What if there was a 12th planet that escaped or got knocked out of its orbit by this object coming in? Okay, but let me finish about what happened. The answer is yes, and I think there's more to the story. Back to the story about the collision that took place. Smashed into Marduk, bursting into billions of pieces, huge chunks. One of them hit the Earth, which probably was the thing that smashed Pangea into a breakup of its continents. It was believed that the original landmass on Earth was one huge landmass called Pangea.
Okay, so you how do you feel about like the growing Earth theory, where Earth has been getting wider, that's why. Or swelling. That's
you mean that Earth is actually growing in its size?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that it contracts and that it expands under certain conditions. I'm not really prepared to discuss that because I've never taken the opportunity to check into that. I have heard about it, but I don't feel confident to comment other than to say there's going to be a lot of other changes that are already happening to the planet. We are having melt-offs. We are having an increase in volcanic activity. We are having an increase in earthquake activity, and they're getting nastier, and they're getting more frequent. I'm a little surprised that this storm season in the Caribbean hasn't been more severe. Yeah. However, we're only halfway through it. If we don't have a bad end of the season, which I'll be grateful for, if it's okay, then I worry about the spring storms. In other words, I think that Mother Nature is still so confused that instead of concentrating on, the currents going screw-o, she's going to worry about, like, the fire season now. We're headed into a rough period. And if this incoming body, it doesn't hit Earth, doesn't hit any planet, it just flies by it on its 3,600-year elliptical orbit, you see? It doesn't hit anything. It just shakes everything up. Keep in mind, whatever gravitational fields or electromagnetic fields or whatever celestial disturbances bombard, affect, or change the sun, then the sun, because it's our benefactor, the sun controls all of the dynamics of the solar system. Everything. The rotation, the gravitation, the positioning, the balancing, the sun. Somehow, the sun's power controls the dynamics that keep the solar system intact.
Yeah.
If you'd stop to think about the majesty of this solar system, if you begin to understand how something much greater than we know designed this solar system, that sun, this planet Earth, did not happen by circumstance. It happened because it was designed and built and created. Now, I'm not going to tie this necessarily into a godhead,
Yeah.
other than to say that something pretty doggone smart, eh? Put it all together. Now, I think that we are about to experience what could be a very difficult 16 months to come.
Really?
Yes. I'm not sure of.
Now, do you think the
the
weather's going to
country's
get more
finances.
extreme?
I'm not sure of this war on terrorism thing. If Israel decides to go knock some wood off over there in Iran, the game's up. It all starts. I'm sure that the sleeper cells here will arise. They'll arise in every country around the world. We are not in for a good time, and that's not taking Mother Nature into effect.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, and somebody even mentioned, different places ramping up activities such as Yellowstone.
Yes. Well, Yellowstone's a super volcano.
Yeah, to the Toba supervolcano.
Yeah.
Krakatoa. I mean, all of these are ramping up in activity. There's something going on. I mean, I think that's not.
It's discussed in the book.
Yeah.
Everything that we've talked about tonight, even some of the things almost quoting because I know my book, are easily available for anyone to research and read, and if they want, send you guys questions. See, I don't want this to be a oh my God scare lesson. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the ability for a person to understand what's going on, do their own research, come to their own conclusions. This is still America. We can still think for ourselves if we wish we can think for ourselves. And I think that we need to take stock of everything that's going on around us, including the problems with the government, including the stock market. But keep in mind that there may be something far more sinister coming our way. And we'll know. If nothing happens in the next 12 months, if everything stays relatively quiet and nothing's happened, then I will come on your show and I will say, well, either I was absolutely wrong or I was ahead of the curve, you see. It could be starting after 2012. But I think that we're going to have a major series of earth changes, earthquakes, storms, tidal waves, things of that nature.
Within the next 12 months, you're saying, right?
Well, no. We could have something major building up to it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, that's what you're saying.
If a couple of really big, nasty earthquakes occur, let's say Tokyo gets hit, and let's say LA takes a hit, then I would say to you, well, I think we've discovered something here, because it'll only get worse. Nothing happens, I'll be very happy. I'll come on and say I'm wrong or I've misjudged the time. In any event, what's wrong with getting prepared?
Sure, there's nothing wrong with being aware.
What's wrong with understanding your enemy? What's wrong with preparing to defend yourself if you had to? Listen, imagine if your fair, good city tonight suffered a major blackout. Something went wrong, and you had no electricity for 48 hours. Nothing. No lights, no electricity, no food, no refrigerators, no supermarkets, no banks, no nothing.
It would be a wild time in the streets.
It sure would. But the point is, if it happened, are you prepared? Do you have 2 weeks' worth of candles? Do you have food that you can activate with water? Do you have things like tuna fish and things like that? And do you have pet food? Imagine if your kitty couldn't get any food, or your doggy didn't have any
Don't
food.
ask me about pet food. I've got a zoo at my house. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I mean, it's a very personal thing we're talking about. This isn't some woo show where everybody goes, oh, God, that guy's nuts. You got to think about the future. I personally have about 3 months of things that I've prepared, including bandages and things like aspirin and little things like Vaseline, things of that nature. And I have a store of cat food and litter and things of that nature, just in case my fair city suffers something. Let's say from you know that there's a major fault line that runs down the whole length of the Mississippi River, don't you?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, what do you think created the Mississippi River? It's when the Continental Divide crumbled. See, the continent literally broke in half about 5 million years ago, and where it cracked became the Mississippi River. That's why all the rivers empty. From the East Coast, they empty west, and from the West Coast, they empty east from the mountain ranges.
Yeah.
And they form the Mississippi. I live about 28 miles from the Mississippi River. It is a fascinating piece of Mother Nature to watch. I watched it. I've been here about 6 years. I've watched it rise to flood stage, and it's really frightening. And I've seen it down where you can see sandbars, or you can almost walk across it. It's a very powerful piece of nature. Now, if there should be a major Earth upliftment, let's say, you're aware of 2012 coming, Roland Emmeringer's movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it?
I think November, correct?
Yeah, November 16th.
No, it's got to come out before December.
Seen the trailers?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the east coast of the United States lifting up and plunging into the ocean.
I think the most impressive the waves coming in, it has the aircraft carrier being carried along, and if you've ever seen one up close and personal.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah.
That
was an image that was the image that stuck with me.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Well, can you imagine if the East Coast did rise? Where do you think all that water in the Great Lakes would go?
That's a good point.
Where would it go? It would go west, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and it would empty probably into the what?
Into the plains.
The Mississippi Basin will probably collapse because of another major earthquake. It's already cracked. That's what caused the Mississippi River. So it's probably cracked. Now, if all this water goes in it, who knows what could happen. But anyway, ain't it fun to think about these things, because it's not so much science fiction as you would think. Just go back and check the history books. Find out how the Mississippi River system was created. The Mississippi Valley was created. You see, this valley, the Mississippi Valley, actually goes hundreds of miles to the east and hundreds of miles to the west, because the Mississippi River originally was over 100 miles wide.
Wow.
When the glaciers melted.
Now I got a quick question here.
Yes.
Just to put my mind at ease.
Yes.
Planet X is the, well, how do I want to word it? The natural disasters, are they happening because the planet is getting closer?
Yes.
Are we looking at like an orbit,
inbound.
or are we looking at a collision?
No. It will not collide with anything.
Okay.
It comes way out. It's emerging right now from out of behind the glare of the sun. This huge rock, this huge piece of Marduk, when it smashed into the baby sun. See, I never finished that part of the story. Okay, so you've got 12 planets rotating in a counterclockwise motion. There's a baby sun. There's no asteroid belt. This huge, nasty monster comes in, smacks into Marduk. Marduk busts up. Piece hits Earth. Piece hits Mars. That's why there's a huge bulge on the far side of Mars. It's a huge piece of something that smashed through the planet. And it also probably destroyed Venus. I think that the reason we had a binary star system was because Venus, Mars, Earth, and Mercury may have all been positioned to maintain life. It would make total sense. If you're going to create one planet with life on it, why not put the planet on the inside planet to the sun could bear life, as well as the planet on the outside of Earth, you see? Now, if we're right, and this event happened, this huge piece smashed into this baby sun, probably in a head-on collision, because remember, we said that this object was coming in, it would probably send fragments in the same motion it was going. It was going in a clockwise motion. So when it hit the baby sun, it hit it so hard, it spun it 180 degrees and sent it out on a clockwise trajectory, not a counterclockwise. It knocked it out of its normal orbit, and it sent it out on a 36 to 4,000 year-long orbital trek through the heavens in a long, skinny rubber band. Yeah. Imagine if I gave you a rubber band that was like 8 inches, and you took your fingers and you pulled that rubber band apart. Do you see the long, narrow, elliptical orbit?
Yeah. How long did you say, or if you've said it yet, how long does it take for the planet to orbit?
about 36 to 4,000 years.
Okay.
See, it's never the same because we don't know what it encounters. Now, I will tell you this. Our research indicates that the last time it came through, at least the archaeological records, is in 1447 BCE. Now, 1447 is before the Common Era, before Christ was born. That was the same year that it's widely believed that Moses was leading the Israelites out of bondage in Egypt.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Another thing out of the Bible. And the reason that I'm so sure that this was the time also is because if you read the Bible passages about all the strange things that the magical, remember the walking rod that Moses had?
Yeah.
He threw it on the ground and it became a snake. He threw it on the ground and then the locust came and then he pointed it toward the sun, and what happened? He created, the sun stopped in the sky over Egypt for 3 hours. So something caused the earth to stop spinning. So I think that was the last time. Now, if you work out the math on that, if you add 1447
We got 3 minutes left.
to 2012, you're only about 144 years short of 3,600 years. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, it all works out, and it's all in the book.
Now,
Can I give an 800 again real quick?
Yeah, give that 800 again,
All right,
and
then
we
we'll
do
punch
have
back
your
to
book.
Last question.
Okay.
1-800-247-6553. 1-800-247-6553. The website is www.returntoplanetx.com with a hyphen, and it's also available in ebook. It's in bookstores, Amazon.com. You just Google it up and it'll come to you. Okay, go.
Okay, we actually have your book and that phone number on our website.
Oh, great.
All you have to do, we've got a big picture of it. You just got to click on it, and it'll take you right to the Amazon site.
Okay, and I'd like to do a question and answer, Q&A if you want sometime.
Okay, yeah, we'll
great.
definitely do. We'd like to do another part of this. This is
Okay,
a lot of
this is
fun.
not a time for everybody to wig out. It's not a time for everybody to go nuts. It's time for you to sit down and figure out who I am, what I am, where I am, and why I am. And once you have yourself in focus, you can begin to understand that things may not be what you think they are. We may be in more trouble than we realize.
Yeah.
And so it's time to take stock and do something about it.
Dr. James Rand, I want to thank you very much for joining us today, and we will be in touch with you.
I appreciate
Rand,
it, guys.
I'm sorry.
Have a good evening, and remember, you got to worry about the future because that's where you're going to live the rest of your life.
Oh, that's good.
All right?
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dr. Rand.
Bye-bye.
All right, Nikki, who we got next week?
Next week we have Eric Haas. He's going to be talking to us about some prophetic visions of the future, and we have Manuel Navarrete from UFO Clearinghouse next week, and then we also, I just found out on the 22nd, Stan Romanek talking about his UFO encounters and abductions.
We got a phone call real quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's Luggy.
Hey, Luggy.
Hey, Lug.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't actually have a question for him. I just wanted you guys to know that I love Tuesday night radio. I don't watch TV a whole lot, but I make sure that I tune into this show every week. I love it.
Oh, we love you too, Lug.
Thanks, Lugnut.
You listen to the Pit Crew on Mondays and Fridays from 6 to 7.
Is he gone already?
Hey,
Bye, Luggy.
we didn't even get
All
to
right,
say
everybody.
bye.
That's all the time we got for today. Lola's going to go be a Broadway star.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Until then, don't be afraid, only believe.